Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The title of this lecture, as you can see, is Exploring Structure. This is the second part because in the first part, previously, I tried to establish 3 points. The first one, if you remember, the sentence is not just a string of words, it's a structure, okay? And I provided you with different types of evidence that we can use to show that it is a structure, not just a sequence of words. The second point we have established is that some word strings can be shown to be self-contained constituents. A constituent is a group of words that behaves as one unit. The third point that we have established is that some tests, some diagnostics can be used to show that a certain group of words is a constituent. We call them diagnostics. We can also call them tests. We have explored two tests, substitution and displacement. So for today, we would like to learn how to use more tests, to prove that a group of words is a constituent. And the ones that we will be discussing today are question formation, ellipsis, another word for deletion, clifting, and coordination. Let me explain. Now, let's start with question formation. Now, I will give you some sentences, and I would like you to, in fact, I will give you questions, interrogative sentences, and I would like you to invent answers for them. Who have you invited to the party? One possible answer is John, my friend, etc. Now, John, my friend from college, my friend from College of Mineral Sciences. So each one of these four fragments can be used as an answer for this question that we are asking. So because we can use each one of these fragments to answer these questions, we can say that each one of them is a constituent. This is what I mean when I say that you can use a question formation to prove that a certain groupings of words are genuine constituents. So John is a constituent, my friend is a constituent, my friend from college is a constituent, my friend from College of Mineral Sciences is a constituent. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that a constituent is indifferent to the number of words that we have within the fragment. In John, we have only one word. In my friend, we have two words. In my friend from college, we have 4 words. In my friend from College of Mineral Sciences, we have 7 words, okay? So, but regardless of the number of words, each one of the fragments is a constituent. It is a constituent because it can be used to answer the WH question. Take another example. Who has invited you to the meeting? So any answer can be said to be a constituent. If you say, for example, John, then John is a constituent, my friend is a constituent, etc. What have you bought? What have you bought? An Indian meal or fish? Which do you prefer? Say, for example, fish. Fish and meal and fish. So each one of these answers can be said to be a constituent because it's a reaction, it's an answer for a WH question. Take the example of what have you bought. The answer may be some apples. So some apples is a constituent. Some delicious apples consisting of 3 words is a constituent. Some delicious apples from the south, that's a constituent. Some delicious apples from the south of Morocco, that's also a constituent. So any group of words, any fragment consisting of a number of words that can be used to answer any one of these WH questions can be said to be a constituent. So that's it then. One of the diagnostics of constituency is WH questions. So each one of these answers constitute a self-contained constituent. The WH question asks about a constituent. So question formation can be used as another diagnostic for constituency. Now, when we ask a WH question, we don't only move a WH word from its original position, from its canonical position, but we also introduce some minor changes. One example of these changes is what we call for example, when I say, what have you bought? In fact, I'm introducing 2 changes. You have bought some apples. Some apples is replaced with WH. I move the WH element to the initial position of the sentence, and then I I switch the auxiliary have with you. Yeah, so this is what we call subject auxiliary inversion. Subject auxiliary inversion, and you know it, okay? You know how it works in English. So we have subject auxiliary inversion, and in the interrogative sentences we take this what and we displace it, we move it to the initial position of the sentence. It leaves its canonical position and we place it somewhere else in the initial position of the sentence, okay? Not only this, in the interrogative sentence, some information is missing. So there is a variable, there is something that we are asking about. That's what we call variable. And the WH word is always about that variable. So these are the three things that we introduce to the sentence for us to get what we call an interrogative sentence. I'm saying this for a reason that I will come to explain in a moment, okay? So I will give you some sentences and I would like you to ask WH questions about each one of the underlined words, okay? Here's the first one. We will be using, our model sentence, which is the customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. So how can you ask a question about the customer in the corner? Yeah? So if your answer is who will order the drinks before the meal, then it's correct. Because we can ask a WH question about the customer in the corner, replacing it with WH. This means that the customer in the corner is a constituent. Again, this is what we mean when we say that WH question formation can be used to prove that a certain group of words is a constituent. The customer in the corner is a fragment consisting of how many words? The customer in the corner. So 5 words. But these 5 words function as one unit, as one self-contained unit that we can ask a WH question about. So it is a constituent. Yeah. Now take this one, the drinks. The customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. The drinks, if we would like to ask a question about the drinks, we should say, yeah, what do you think? Yeah, good. What will the customer in the corner order before the meal? What will the customer in the corner order before the meal? Because we can ask a question using the WH word what to ask a question about the drinks, then the drinks is itself a constituent. Again, this is what we mean when we say that any fragment that we can ask a question about using a WH word is itself a constituent. So the drinks is a constituent. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the customer in the corner, which now proved to be a constituent using a WH question, has already been proven to be a constituent when we use displacement. Remember when we replaced this fragment with the pronoun he. Same thing can be said about the drinks. We replace it with it. So you see that all the diagnostics work together to point out to the same fact, namely that this fragment is a constituent. Take this one, before the meal. Before the meal is a prepositional phrase headed by before, having the meal as a complement. Before the meal is a constituent because we can ask a WH question about it. We can say, when will the customer in the corner order the drinks? When will the customer in the corner order the drinks? The answer, before the meal. So before the meal is a constituent. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we have already used displacement to prove that before the meal is a constituent. Okay? So because we can replace it with the Prof form, for example, later. Okay? The customer in the corner will order the drinks later. Okay? Later replaces before the meal. When that we use to ask a WH question also replaces before the meal. So for sure, before the meal is a constituent. Remember, the constituent is indifferent to the number of words. In this case, we have 3 words. Okay? So again, the same conclusion. Each one of these bracketed word strings constitute a self-contained constituent because we can ask a WH question about them. Yeah. So I will give you some examples and you tell me what we are asking a question about in each one of them, of the examples I'm giving you. Take this one. Okay. I think that would be the worst thing in the world for him, a family holiday. What's he going to do? Sit on the beach? Sit on the beach. Sit on the beach. What's he going to do? Sit on the beach. So what's he going to do? I mean, he's going to do different things. One of them is sit on the beach, which means that one of the possible answers for the question what's he going to do is sit on the beach. So sit on the beach is one of the possible answers for this WH question. The WH word that we are using, as you can see, is what, right? Is what. And one of the possible answers is sit on the beach. Because sit on the beach can be used as one of the answers, sit on the beach must be a constituent itself, okay? So the WH word is what, and the answer is, or one of the answers is, sit on the beach. So sit on the beach is a constituent. Can you guess which type of fragment of constituent is this one? If your answer VP, then it's correct. We know that it's a VP because it's headed by the verb sit. On the beach is a prepositional phrase headed by on, and it functions as the complement of sit. Okay. How about sentence number 2? What is Sylvia to do? That's the question. What is Sylvia to do? Again, this is a question in which we use the WH word what. And there's another question, which is, what are we all meant to do? What are we all meant to do? Meant to do. Okay. Here are some potential answers. Hang our cars from the trees. Throw them away. Hang our cars from the trees is a fragment which is used as a potential answer for the question, for the two questions that are asked. Okay. What is Sylvia to do? What are we all meant to do? Hang our cars from the trees. Throw them away. So because hang our cars from the trees and throw them away are potential answers, this means that these two fragments, hang our cars from the trees is a constituent and throw them away is a constituent. Okay. So again, I mean, what we have in VPs in general, as you can see, every VP consists of a verb plus something. In the first example, it's the verb plus a PP, or prepositional phrase. In the second example, again, we are asking a question which using the WH word what, and we have two potential answers. Each one of them is supposed to be a constituent. Okay, hang our cars from the trees. The verb in this case is hang. Our cars from the trees, we have our cars, which is a PP, and from the trees, which is a PP. So both of them constitute what we call a complement, the complement of the verb, which is hang. So this is again evidence that hang our cars from the trees is a constituent. Same thing can be said about throw them away. That's the constituent. So any fragment of word, any group of words that can be used to answer a question is a constituent. Hang our cars from the trees is a constituent. Throw them away is also a constituent. Now take example number 3. In example number 3, we have a small mini conversation. A and B talking. We need fewer people, A says. What would you do? Eliminate them? What would you do? Eliminate them? What would you do is a question. Specifically, it's a WH question. And one potential answer is eliminate them. Eliminate them because it is used as an answer for what? For the WH question, then it must be a constituent. Remember again that a constituent is always indifferent to the number of words. In this case, we have 2 words. Eliminate them. Yeah. So what? And the answer is eliminate them. So eliminate them must be a constituent. Again, what we have here is a VP verb phrase. And we know that it's a verb phrase because it's headed by the verb eliminate, having a complement which is them, which is a pronoun, which is an object in this case. So ladies and gentlemen, my point is that one of the diagnostics, one of the tests that you can use to make sure that a certain group of words is a constituent is to ask a WH word about it. If you can, then it must be a constituent. Okay, now let's go back to our model sentence again, which is the customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. What I would like you to do is to ask a WH question about each one of the bracketed word strings that I will give you. Take this one. Order the drinks before the meal. How can you ask a question about that? The customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. How can we ask a WH question? If your answer is What will the customer do? Then your answer is correct. What will the customer do? The answer, order the drinks before the meal. So it's correct. What will the customer do? The answer, order the drinks before the meal. If you remember, order the drinks before the meal is a VP, but this VP contains the prepositional phrase before the meal. Because it contains it, then this must be an augmented VP, an extended VP. Remember that in the VP we have two layers, the augmented VP and the core VP. The core VP consists of the verb or the verb plus the object. The augmented VP consists of the verb plus the object on the one hand and something else that we call an adjunct, that can be a PP, NP, or otherwise. If you remember my garage metaphor, the object is like the living room, which is an integral part of the house. The PP or the adjunct is like the garage. It's a part of the house, but it's an independent part of the house. It's not integral, okay? How about this one? The customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. How can you ask a question about order the drinks? If your answer is, what will the customer do before the meal? Then your answer is correct. Order the drinks is itself a constituent, and this is what we call the core VP. It's the, if you like, the internal part of the VP consisting of the verb and the object, and that's exactly what we called the core VP. What will the customer do before the meal? Again, I mean, the fact that we can ask a question about the core VP as well as the augmented VP, this is strong evidence in favor of our layered analysis for the VP. Remember that the layered analysis for the VP is one in which the VP consists of two parts, the core VP and the augmented VP. Hopefully this point is clear for you. Now take our model sentence again. Customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. Order the drinks before the meal is the augmented VP. Order the drinks is the core VP. So order the drinks before the meal is the augmented VP. Order the drinks is the core VP. Again, our analysis of that is as follows. You have a VP consisting of containing the adjunct order the drinks before the meal, within which we have a core VP, which is this one, okay? Order the drinks, consisting of the verb plus the NP or the object, okay? The PP itself is adjoined to the VP, and that's why we iterate the VP. We reduplicate the VP, yeah? So this is basically the analysis that we are building up to. We would like to make sure that the VP, to make the VP, or to make the internal structure of the VP transparent when we draw a tree diagram trying to analyze the English sentence. So that's it. The verb is order, the NP, which is the complement, is the drinks, and before the meal is an adjunct, which is adjoined to the VP. Now how about ellipsis? Ellipsis is a Latin expression meaning deletion, when you take out something, omission of something. Yeah. Now, I will ask you to supply the words that have been omitted in the following sentences. I will give you a sentence, and then you tell me what's taken out from it. Okay. Now, the first sentence is, it is up to us. It is up to us. Other teams to, it is up to other teams to take steps to rectify our performance deficiency, and we will. Now the question is, we will what exactly? So there's something missing after the auxiliary. We will do something. So there are two possibilities. The first one, will, is immediately followed by should be immediately followed by take steps to rectify our performance deficiency, or just rectify our performance deficiency. So I will first give you 4 sentences. I would like you to stop this video and tell me what is being omitted in each one of them, and what does it stand for. What is exactly taken away from the sentence, and what does it stand for in the sentence itself. Yeah, so just stop the video for a moment and work it out, please. Okay, now let us just work it out together. So in the first sentence, I mean, the fragment that has been deleted follows well. It might be, for example, rectify our performance deficiency. That's one possibility. Another possibility is take steps to rectify our performance deficiency. So this is, I mean, the sense in which this sentence is ambiguous. It has two possible meanings. I mean, we will take steps to rectify our performance deficiency, or just we will rectify our performance deficiency. And this is the reading, the interpretation of this sentence which is represented in here. You must have noticed that, I mean, the element which is being bracketed is a VP. And we know that it's a VP because it's headed by the verb rectify, followed by some more structure, namely our performance deficiency, which is an NP. So that's a VP. So what we say here is that the VP is deleted. Notice that what is deleted is not the auxiliary plus the VP, but just the VP. This is further evidence that we can use to show that the VP in English is independent from the auxiliary. The auxiliary is retained. While the auxiliary is retained, the VP itself is deleted. Now, let us look at the second sentence. When the first ran for office 4 years ago, Government Gray Davis vowed to save California's old-growth forests. He hasn't, as Moloney sees it. Okay, he hasn't. Now, what has been deleted from this position, from this locus, immediately following hasn't. And what has been deleted should be save California's old-growth forest. What this empty place stands for is save California's old growth forest. So the original reading of the sentence is, of the second sentence is, he hasn't saved California's old growth forest. Again, this is an example of deletion. What has been deleted here is a VP, which is save California's old growth forest. We know that it is a VP because it's introduced by the verb save, and the rest is a complement, is an NP specifically. Again, this is evidence that we can use ellipsis to show that a certain group of words is a constituent. And again, we can use this sentence as evidence that the VP is independent from the auxiliary in the English language. The auxiliary is hasn't is not deleted, is retained, while the VP itself is deleted. Now look at the third sentence. In the third sentence, after all, Francisca's hardly in use anymore. We are all trying to forget her, as if we could, although we should. I can't. Now, we have three places from which some material is deleted. As if we could do something. Although we should do something. I can't do something. And what has been deleted is certainly forget her. As if we could forget her, although we should forget her, I can't forget her. Now, if you look at the internal structure of of this bracketed fragment, which is forget her, you will see by yourself that it's a VP because it's headed by forget, which is a verb, followed by a complement taking the form of a pronoun, in this case, which is her. This is again evidence that forget her is a constituent. We know it's a constituent because it can be deleted, which it is in this sentence. It's deleted from three positions. Again, this sentence can be used as evidence in favor of our claim that the auxiliary is independent from the VP because could is an auxiliary which is retained. Should is also auxiliary and retained. Can't is an auxiliary and is retained as well. So while the VP itself is deleted, the auxiliary is retained. It's not deleted. Same thing can be done to the third sentence. Only those who were in the room know the absolute truth of this story. No one else probably will. Well, what? Will know the absolute truth of this story. Again, if we look at the internal structure of this fragment, we will see that it's headed by a verb, which is know, followed by an NP. Again, this is a VP for sure. And if we count the number of words we have here, we have know, the absolute truth of this story. We have 7 words, but still it's just one constituent, and we know that it's one constituent because it's taken out from here. It's deleted. It's deleted while the auxiliary itself is retained. Because the auxiliary is retained, we say that the auxiliary is independent from the VP, and because this fragment of words, this group of words is deleted as one unit, we conclude that it's a constituent. And because it's headed by the verb, we conclude that it's a VP. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I mean to refresh your minds about what we're doing now. We're trying to show in a clear way that a certain group of words has the status of a constituent, and we know that it's a constituent because it can be deleted as one unit. This is the point that I'm trying to make now. Now, here's a question I would like to ask you just to make sure that you're following my argument. Is the omitted string of type 1 or type 2? This is type 1. Type 1 is it a VP consisting of a verb plus NP, or a VP consisting of the auxiliary plus the verb plus the NP? Aha. If your answer is of type 1, it's a VP consisting of the verb plus something else like the NP, then your answer must be correct. Because the second type, what we are saying is that the VP consists of an auxiliary plus V plus the NP, which is not the case. We have already shown that the auxiliary is independent from the VP. And we know it's independent from the VP because while the auxiliary is retained in all of the examples that we have discussed so far, the VP itself, consisting of the verb plus something else, is deleted. So the VP is a constituent. It's a genuine constituent, and we know it is so because we can apply this diagnostic of ellipsis to it, and the auxiliary is independent from it. These are the two conclusions that we want to make from our analysis so far. Again, I would like to ask you, what's the correct representation of the sentences that we have, of the VPs that we have seen so far? Is it the right one? Is it the one to the right or the one to the left? Is it the right one or the left one? The right one must be the right one. And the reason is that it's in the right structure that the auxiliary is independent from the VP instead of being a part of the VP as it is in the left tree diagram. Okay, so the left tree diagram is incorrect and the right tree diagram is correct. Now here's another practical question that I would like you to answer. Which string is omitted in the questions below? Again, I will be using my model sentence. A, the customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. And then B answers, are you sure he will before the meal? What has been deleted in here? If your answer, what has been deleted from here, is order the drinks, then your sentence is correct. It's correct because before the meal is retained. The auxiliary is retained. Look at the auxiliary. It's retained. Before the meal, which is the adjunct, is retained. What is deleted is order the drinks. Does it remind you of something? It should. It should remind you of what we call the core VP. What is being deleted in here in this question is the core VP. So again, we can use ellipsis to prove that within the sentence we have a core VP as well as an augmented VP. Now, I mean, the picture will become clearer when you look at the second example. Okay, the customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal, and then B says, are you sure he will? He will what? If your answer is order the drinks before the meal, then it's correct. Yeah, order the drinks before the meal. Does this remind you of something? It should. It should remind you of what we call the augmented VP. Remember, the augmented VP is the VP plus an adjunct. And the adjunct in this case is the prepositional phrase before the meal. Before the meal plus the VP, when we bring them together, it's like as if we are extending the VP to something which is bigger, which is what we call the augmented VP. Yeah. Again, using ellipsis, we can prove that the correct analysis of the VP is the one that allows for the possibility of adjoining some material to the VP, extending it, making it bigger. Yeah. So ellipsis supports what our layered VP analysis. The customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. Order the drinks before the meal can be deleted, so it's a constituent on its own. And order the drinks can be deleted, proving that it's a constituent on its own. This is exactly what we have shown using the other diagnostics, the diagnostics that we have discussed so far. So again, this is our layered VP analysis. We have the augmented VP consisting of a core VP plus the adjunct, and then we have a smaller VP or a core VP consisting of the verb plus the object. Yeah. Again, order the drinks before the meal. So this is our analysis of the VP, and our conceptualization of it is such that we would like it to consist of different levels of analysis within the VP itself. Each one of them is a constituent on its own, and this is what we represent by iterating the VP.